So, hello everyone. I am Sarah Marie Paul, and I am a wellness educator through Young Living. I'm a brand ambassador, and I am here this evening to chat with you all about the secrets to living an intentional life. I'm here and I am going to be talking to you with Jill Chamberlain, who is a dear friend of mine. She is a powerful, powerful wellness educator who just really, fights. She's a truth seeker. She is a truth seeker, and she just fights for what she believes in. And she also is an inspiration to me. So I just love getting on these calls because we get to learn from each other. We get to talk to all of you about some things that we talk about on weekly coaching calls together. And we just always think about how we can best serve you. And that's what we're here to do tonight. So tonight, we are going to try to keep it as concise as possible. This topic of living an intentional life is a big one. It's a big topic, right? So we talked in depth about how we were going to break it down into meaningful chunks to make it be something that you can leave with tonight. And since you are here live with us, I'm also going to be sending you a PDF of a Finding Why activity that I'm going to be talking about in just a little bit, so that after this call is over, you can take it and you can have a PDF to work through on your own to really then, use what you learned tonight to propel you into living a more intentional life. And Jill, would you like to do a little bit of an introduction as well?
Sure. So, hello, everybody. Thank you, Sarah, for asking me to do this with you. Well, first and foremost, I'm married to my best friend. We're blessed to work alongside one another in our chiropractic and wellness practice. And we've had that for going on 29 years this spring. I'm a mama bear to a 22-year-old and a 19-year-old. And I have a huge desire to live on a planet where people live healthy, vibrant lives, so that they can share that happy energy with others. So I'm purposeful in being a part of that change and sharing what I know with those who are interested and those that want to be health warriors as well, so that we can live extraordinary lives. So that's kind of it in a nutshell.
I love it. I love it so much. Well, let's get this thing started. So what we're going to walk you through tonight is we are going to walk you through finding your why, talking about your why. The second point we're going to be talking about are your priorities, your time priorities, and also just your priorities of your who you want to be spending your time with. And then the third part is going to be a time blocking activity, which is going to help you be more effective within your routine, doing things that you want to do, doing things that truly bring you joy. And that's what we're going to talk about this evening. So we are going to just focus on those three things over the next 53 minutes. Now it's 52 minutes that we have you, because we respect your time. So thank you for being here on time. Thank you for being here live. And we're going to get started. So the first piece of living an intentional life is really knowing why you are doing the things that you are doing. And not only why you're doing the things you're doing, but also maybe the why you're not doing the things that you want to be doing, right? And even like what those things are. So Jill, do you want to talk a little bit about the power of why?
Sure. So I guess I'll start with a question first, just to get everybody thinking. So why is a why important? Why do you have to define something before you do it? Why should you define the reason behind what you want before you take action? And I think that we would all agree that understanding is the key there. That when you have an understanding and you're deeply connected to the reason of why you want to do X, Y, or Z, you are building a stronger foundation with more intent, more focus, more clarity, and ultimately you're going to be more successful in the application of achieving whatever that is, because you are deeply rooted in the why. I mean, that's in simplest terms, it's going to set you up for success rather than failure.
Well, and Jill, we've talked about this in great detail too. And your why, it should pull emotion from you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because many of us will go for an easy why at first. I did this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I always tie it to business because this is the first time that I ever heard about this notion was from Young Living and from starting a Young Living business, which I had no business background. I was a school teacher for 10 years. I quit my job just to have time freedom to be home with my son, who was very sick at the time. And I had no idea what I was doing, just to be quite honest with you. I knew that I liked oils and I knew that I used them and I knew that they worked for me, and that was it. And I remember someone coming to me and saying, well, why are you doing this? Like, what's your why? And I'm like, well, I want to pay my bills. Like, I want to pay my bills. Does that matter? Like,
Yeah.
and at first my whys were very, very surface. It was first, I wanted to be able to afford organic groceries for my family, which was important, right? Very important to me because I feel as though nutrition is the foundation. So that was my first why. Pretty good. Not that deep of a why. Didn't make me necessarily cry when I thought about it. Didn't evoke that much emotion in me. The second one, once I attained, I was able to reach that first goal. It was okay. Well, now I want to be able to afford these products, which I know work so well. But I want to be able to afford them. I want to be able to get my $300 order every single month paid for. I want to do that because I want these healthy products coming into my family. So again, it was about health and nourishment for my family. Well, then I attained that, and then I was stuck. I'm like, I don't know. Why am I doing this? Like, am I just doing this for a job? No, I could like feel emotionally there. I was called to do this for a much higher reason. However, I was totally not in touch with it. I was not in touch with it because I was going through the motions. At that time, I wasn't sleeping very well. And at that time, I was feeling pressure because I had left my career to do something, to take a risk, to make a change. So I did feel a little bit of pressure for myself. But it was at that third milestone that I kept hearing people who I really respected telling me, yeah, but why, Sarah? Yeah, but why? Did you sit and do this activity? And they would ask me, I'd be like, oh yeah, not really. I didn't really do it. And that's the 7 layers of why activity that I'm going to send you tonight. Because at first it may seem like, you're doing things daily, right? Well, because I have to. That might be some of your reason. Are any of you thinking that? Like, yeah, I'm doing these things every day. Maybe, well, because I have to. Okay. Well, that is not necessarily the case. Many of the things that you are doing, you have free will, right? You don't necessarily have to be doing those things. Could they be the right things? Could they be the responsible things? Absolutely. Could you be doing them a different way? I'd like to say yes, you could. But why aren't you doing them that different way? That's a question I'm going to ask you. And that's going to be where these limiting beliefs come into place, where you cannot get past well, I'm doing this, right? And not even the job thing, okay? It might just be an activity that you're doing on the regular that doesn't necessarily bring you joy, but it has become a habit that really you're just doing it because it's what you've always done. Or maybe you're doing it because it was what your mom always did. Or maybe you're doing it because that's the way you were raised. Okay. And all those things that I just said to you are all limiting beliefs that you learned in childhood. And you're using them now as excuses to not live up to your potential. True story. Okay. I have been there and I am still there in a lot of ways because that's what happens, right? It's like a whole lifetime of unlearning, but also a whole lifetime of healing and a whole lifetime of new potential that you can really open up when you go deeper. So this activity that we're going to share to you starts with, well, why? Well, why? Well, why? And it's going to have you go through and go through and go through. And at times you're going to get annoyed. You will. I got annoyed. At times you might have to walk away because you're not going to want to go to the true reason as to why, as to really, truly why. And you know that you're going to get there when it evokes emotion from you. Right. Am I right, Jill?
Definitely. It's funny because we do something, we don't call it a why in the office. We have something that we do with our team called statement of desire. So when we hire team to fulfill the purpose of educating people and on true health and giving them power to share that with others and so on, we want our team to invest in that as well. But we have to ask them what's important to them. And I remember, years ago, because I'm married to an incredibly why-oriented, purposeful human being who would, say, what's your purpose here? What's your purpose here? Meaning like real big, like on earth. And I would like cower in fetal positions because it was so overwhelming to me to try to figure out why I'm here on this planet. And so what we did in recent years is we called it a statement of desire. And we said to our team, I want you to think about how you want to feel in our office when you're serving patients, how you want to feel when you're outside in this world, how you want to feel when you're with the people that you love, and start writing and breaking it down and trying to like get down to the lowest common denominator of what your statement of desire is. And that statement of desire doesn't just apply to work. It should be able to be almost transformational in all the areas of your life. So as time goes by with new team members, they refine it. And I was before class tonight, I have a statement of desire. And to be honest with you, probably a year ago, it elicited something from me. But I think it's time to dig deeper. So I started to write. And I was looking for words, and that word's not strong enough. That word's not strong enough. So I'm still playing with it. This isn't like a one and done thing. Your why isn't going to necessarily be set in stone forever and be the same sentence or sentence and a half. And it should be compact. It shouldn't really be a huge long paragraph because you really want to massage it down. But it's going to be something that as you grow and you evolve, that why or that statement of desire, whatever you want to call it, is going to evolve and change as well. So I want to make sure that you understand that it's not like, oh, I got the sentence and I'm done. You're going to grow and evolve and change and all those things now until the end of your life. So that can also grow, change, and evolve with you.
Absolutely. And if we take a look at Natasha, you had a great comment. She said, everyone is going to try to rock your why until it's deeply rooted. You won't be able to defend yourself. And that's the truth. Because your why has to be so deeply rooted. Your why is directly your purpose. Your purpose is linked to your values, right? Like that is very cohesive. They are building blocks to get you where you're going. And it has to be like concreted. It has to be cemented. You have to be deeply rooted and you have to have unwavering faith in that statement. Unwavering faith. Like that is, it cannot be rocked because you are going to face, people who do not agree with it. You're going to face people who may not respect it, who may not understand it. And this, again, does not have to go into strictly a work setting. Like Jill said, this is a how do I want to feel? How do I want to live?
How do I want to serve?
How do I want to serve has the biggest portion of it. When your why is linked to serving others, okay, that is the best. That is the most amazing thing that you can have it be. And until my why became about serving others rather than serving myself, I was stunted completely. I was stunted emotionally. I was stunted growth-wise. I was stuck. I hit this level and I would not go forward. And again, I'm not just talking about from a financial being. I'm talking about from a, just being fulfilled with myself, being happy, being joyful, because isn't that the real purpose of life? Do you want to spend every day filled with joy? Do you? Or do you want to walk around without joy? Do you want to walk around angry? Do you want to walk around sad? Do you want to walk around frustrated? Do you want to walk around hopeless? or do you want to be hope filled? Right. So that is one of my very huge parts, Jill, is that service part, right?
Most definitely.
Service part.
Mhm.
That's enormous for my why too. But we're going to send you that activity because that could literally take well over an hour in itself. But your why, figuring out your why, and even just taking a couple minutes. Jill, why don't you talk just a couple minutes about the feeling words, like what you were doing in the office, and maybe we can have them just jot down a couple of those, how they want to feel. If you could just walk them through that, we'll give them maybe like 3 minutes to kind of write down some feeling words. How about that?
Feeling words. So you mean,
Like you had just talked about what you do in the office.
oh, the statement of desire.
Yep.
Okay. So you're going to want to ask yourself how you want to feel when you're doing whatever you're doing. I'm happy to share my latest edit if you want me to do that.
I would love that.
And I'm going to read it because, like I said, this part of it has been the statement for the last 2-3 years of my life. But I was on a walk maybe 2 weeks ago with my husband, and he's like, "Tell me that statement of desire again." And I said it, and he's like, "Well, why do you want to?" And I was like, "Da, da, da." And he's like, "Well, why do you want it?" And like, I got to a point where I was getting aggravated with him, but he knew that we weren't deep enough. He knew that I wasn't eliciting, whether it's the tear, the goosebump, the aha, that feeling when your chest fills up, of happiness or connection or whatever. So this is what I've got so far, but this is not my finished product. Okay. So to live, and that's capital letters, because while I'm here, I want to LIVE big time. To live a bold and purposeful life while inspiring others that they have the power to enhance their own design and to equip them with the tools that create a life of simplicity and ease. Now, I can do that, and I've done it over the years on bleachers at my son's lacrosse games. I can do that at work. I can do that when I'm out in the store. I can do that when I'm with friends and I grab my roller out of my pocketbook and they ask me a question on what I'm doing. I can do that in all areas of my life and tailor it. I can do that when someone responds to an Instagram story that I posted and asks a question about Ningxia and why does my family take it. So I want to be a part of changing the world. I do, albeit maybe my small little part, but I want to be a part of that because I'm not happy when people are sick and tired around me, when I know that they don't have to be sick and tired. And I know there's another way. And it's mind-blowing to me that more people don't want that or know that. So now I'm tasked with that job. For me, I feel like, and I don't want to say a calling and sound all ethereal or whatever, but my voice has gotten progressively louder in the last 9 to 10 months. The shift of this world has lit something that was there, but lit it to another level because this is not okay. And people need to know it's not okay and that we can all be healthy and we can all have all the dreams we want. And this is the way you can do it. And we'll start with this little action and then we can add this little action. So that's the stuff that gets me pumped up. So I had to find a way where I could communicate that into a sentence or two, and I could use that in all these areas of my life. I don't know if I answered your question or if I went on a tangent, but
that was awesome. I can feel the passion. I think every single person on this call can feel the passion just like firing out at them through the screen. And that is what happens. That's what happens. Because it's also, well, what if that doesn't happen? Right? Because when you think about that and you think about the alternative, why not occurring?
I could cry if you kept talking. I could cry.
Yeah. And that's the part where that emotional response, because ladies and gentlemen, when life is going great and you're in the flow and life is easy and things are going, you're like, yeah, I got my why. This is great. I can do this. I can do this. And then what happens when life isn't so easy and things aren't going so great? And then what? You're just going to give up?
Yeah.
You're not going to try anymore? No. Your why has to then fuel you to
That's
keep
right.
going and to
Yeah.
keep going and to keep going, because what's the alternative?
Yeah.
You're not willing to find out. You're not willing to live a life where that why does not occur. It's not worth it. Okay. So,
Hmm.
I had Natasha shared a quote from Dr. King. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? What are you doing for others? The act of serving others is one of the acts that will lift your frequency, lift your energy so much higher. The simple act of serving others. And you can do that in so many different ways. But if your why is in tune with that, it's, oh my gosh.
I don't have the exact statistic, but I've heard my husband say it when he's taught classes before. And when they are, when therapists and psychologists are, talking about their patients, and they're talking about all the people that are on depression and all of these things, the number one thing they find to turn that, I don't know if it's fair to say thought process, or because I believe that your thoughts create your reality. So it's whatever you've got is going to be what you get. That service to others is the first thing that can turn that around. Service to others is huge. And there's going to be people that might not be their jam, or, whatever. But if we're all here because we believe in something that can help people. So we all have that somewhere in us, I would argue.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
service to others can be, it can be little things
Oh,
that make an enormous difference on your own psyche and on that other person's psyche. It can be sending someone a card. It can be sending them a message. It can be baking them a baked good. It can be making them a roller. It can be asking how they're doing, telling them that they've been on your mind. Like, it can be so many of those little things that make a huge difference, because you never know where anybody else is. You never know where anybody else is. So I'm going to give you a few moments, and I just want you to right now, not to go even to your why. I just want you to jot down some words that say, how do you want to feel? I'm asking you the question, how do you want to feel on a daily basis? How do you want to feel? Give me some feeling words of how you want to feel. Put them on your form, under the why section, just so that when we come back here, okay, this is where I want to be. This is my mindset of where I want to start my day, of where I want to go through my day. How do you want to feel? Okay. And I would like you to just share one of those words in the comment section. At least one. Give me one. Let's see. How do you want to feel?
joyful, purposeful, resourceful, productive, empathetic. All great ones. Another joyful.
How do you want to feel? If you could feel any way every day, how would you want to feel?
Healthy, alive. I like alive. That's great. Light. Cheerful, inspired, excited, accomplished, serviceful.
All good ones, right?
I resonate with light, Yamira. I like that one.
Yes, nobody wants to feel heavy,
Heavy.
right?
That's
Nobody
right.
wants to feel weighed down.
Oh, grace giving. That's beautiful.
It's amazing, right? Even just reading these words and thinking about them, like how they just kind of lift your energy up a little bit, helpful and excited, fulfilled. Oh, I love it. All right, so our next part, we're going to be discussing priorities. And we're going to have you do another little activity with priorities, because after you have your why, why you're going to go about doing the things you do every day, why really you're choosing to live your life. Like, what sets your soul on fire every day? What brings you joy? What makes you feel fulfilled? What makes you feel helpful, excited, grace giving? All of these beautiful words, like what truly makes you feel that way. And again, you're going to do that activity on your own because that's going to be a very deep one that you're going to go through. We're going to have to talk about priorities, because how many times have we heard the excuse, there aren't enough hours in the day? Oh, well, she over there, she can do that because I don't know, I don't have time for that, but like it works for her because she just has all this time. Well, I hate to break it to you, but we all have 24 hours in a day,
We're
right?
all busy.
We're all busy,
Busy.
all busy. And time is the one thing you can't buy more of it, right? You can't buy more of it. You can't get it back. So we need to start living now. Right in this moment, you need to start living, and you need to start feeling those words. But the way that you can get more time out of those 24 hours in a day is by prioritizing your time, and by doing this a couple different ways. One of them is going to be identifying ways that you're wasting your time. There are lots of different activities that we could do for this. One activity is that you can literally time block out for one day. You're going to be like, what? I don't have time for that. Well, listen, you might find a lot more time after you do this time wasting activity. And you simply, from the time that you wake up until, the next time that you do something different within your day, you write down the time. So say from, okay, I woke up at 7 a.m. From 7 until 8 a.m. I made breakfast. I put out my son's morning work today. And then I cleaned up breakfast. And then at 8 a.m., I started school with him. From 8 until 9, we did devotion school, and you would just kind of jot down what you're doing and be honest with yourself. I will not be grading this. I will not be collecting this assignment. Okay. So be honest with it, be authentic with it, because this is where you are going to be like, wait a second, did I really just watch Netflix for like 3.5 hours? Or wait a minute, did I just like go on to check that thing on my phone and now it's like an hour and 20 minutes later? Okay. And I'm not judging. Trust me, I could definitely improve upon in this area too. But it will be a really
Eye-opening.
eye-opening activity, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, okay, so I do have this time here that I wasted, this time here that I wasted, right? Yes. And Amber says, same idea as a budget. When you start writing things down,
You see where you're spending it, and
money, you're
yep.
like, wait a second. I
Yeah.
always use the example of, now this is like over a year ago, but when my husband and I sat down, I had to sit down with him about Starbucks for a lot of reasons. But I was like, hey, I like found in your car a whole bunch of Starbucks cups, and it was budget time for us to like re-go over things. And we found out he was spending $150 a month on Starbucks. I was like, hold on a second. How much is your Starbucks coffee? And he said, oh, it's $5 a piece. I said, 5 times 30 is $150. So you have literally been buying a Starbucks coffee every day. And we talked about it. I'm like, well, let's talk about the value, and like let's like weigh the pros and cons. Okay. Does it taste good? Yeah, it tastes good. Okay. Well, then we'll put that as a pro. Is it healthy? No, it's not healthy. Okay, well, that's a con. Does it make you feel good? Yeah, for a little while, it makes me feel good. Okay, so it makes you feel good. Is it a great way that you want to spend $150 a month? Because then we add that up, like
Times
150.
12. Yeah.
That's like a whole lot of money on Starbucks.
Yep.
Okay, all right, probably not the best use of our money. Okay, well, why are you doing it? Out of convenience. Out of convenience. Okay, well, what could we do at home
Mm-hmm.
to like bring that experience home? And we literally had this conversation, and then he went down from drinking Starbucks coffee 7 days a week to having a treat and doing it once a week. And he now just has coffee that we do at the house, and I help him with that if he's running late in the morning, because I know that it's something that we wanted to support one another on. But same type of idea. priorities, right? Priorities. Are your priorities your health? Things like that too. So identify the time wasters, ways that you can find time. We can all find time in those places. Okay. How do you want to spend your time? What brings you joy? These are questions that you have to ask yourself. How do you want to spend your time? So, like right now, if I were to say, okay, friends, tomorrow I am just giving you the day. I called all your people, like all your families, all your, all your bosses, all your places of employment, all your responsibilities are taken off the table. You literally have a day tomorrow where you can do anything that you want. I mean, I'm not paying for anything for you, but with your time, you can do anything you want. What would you do? Put something in the comments right now. Go right now. One thing. What would you do with your time? You have a whole day, my friends. Just one. Okay. And it's tomorrow. So you don't really have a lot of time to plan. But what are you going to do at that time? Come on. Give me something. Clean my house and watch Netflix. Go for a 5-mile plus walk with a friend. Give me all the things. Come on. Go to the greenhouse. I love it. Sleep in.
Sleep in. That's a good one.
Travel somewhere new. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay. So come on. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. You have one full day where you have no responsibilities, nothing. So this list, okay, can be the things, well, I would hope these are things that bring you joy, right? I say you have no responsibilities for a whole day, and I hope you're not like, what's the most painful, agonizing thing I can think of to spend my time with? No, like you're going to go to, oh my gosh, I have this time. Oh, like I can't believe it. How do I want to I can do anything, right? Read a book, go seed shopping, okay? I would take a really long bubble bath. I would take a long walk. I would take a bubble bath. I would read. I would plan my garden, meet with friends, meet with team members, okay? What would you do, Jill?
Oh, if I had the whole day, well, I had said a walk. That I love going for walks, and I love going for walks with a friend because I love the double duty of the exercise, but the engagement and the catch up. If we're going dream big here, which we might as well, right?
Yeah.
I would have someone come into my house like a chef and cook me a really great dinner. That would be something I would enjoy. I love being with my posse. So, my husband and my kids. Anything with them, we laugh. And if the traveling was allowed and easy to do right now, that would definitely be something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that. And look, Kate said restorative yoga. Heather said playground with her boys, swing like a kid, play tennis, long nap, bake brownies together, walk with my mom, get a massage, relax and visit with family and friends. Okay, yes, we are on the same page. So these things, like we said, bring you joy, right? We're all in agreement there. You pick things that make you happy, make you feel good, even just thinking about it, like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to say you need to do more of all those things, whatever those things were that came into your mind. And you could sit and do a full list of these things as well. These are where you need to start to prioritize more time. They don't need to just be a dream case scenario. It doesn't need to just be me saying, oh, imagine if. You can live your life however you choose. Truly, you can. Okay. But this is where the priorities come into play. So everyone, on your piece of paper, I want you to make a large triangle. Okay, mine is like this. Just a triangle. I'm not going to give you all the details just yet, but make a big triangle. And what we're going to do, we're going to identify next to that triangle, not inside yet, okay? Because inside is going to be kind of like your final, and outside is going to be your rough draft, okay? Or on a different piece of paper will be your rough draft. I'm going to have you do a little list. And this list is going to be priorities. So I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to give you a little example for my visual friends who are out there. Any of you visual learners, you like to look at things, see examples, things like that. Yeah, you're like, okay, you can talk to me forever, but I need to kind of see something. All right, so I am going to share my screen with you and pull this up. Okay, so take a look at this. This is one example, and this has a lot on it. You don't even have to have this many things, but this is one person's triangle. Okay, at the bottom, you see how there is more at the God section and less on the, I don't know, this person has a question mark up here, but like taking care of the earth section up here. It doesn't mean that this person, I'll just call her a she, this is not my personal triangle, that she doesn't care about the earth. She totally cares about the earth, okay? And spending time reducing, reusing, recycling up there. But God to her God time is more of a priority, okay? Because the things that are at the bottom of your triangle are going to be more of like your ways that you want to spend the most of your time. So she has listed God, Bible study, pray, journal, church, lead, and serve others. That's what she considers serving God. Then she has husband. So they can pray together, date together, serve, love, inspire. Then she has her kids, pray, play, teach, listen, guide, train. Then she has home, things that she would do at home. Then she has friends and family. Then she has blogging because that's important to her. You might have working on here. Then she has me time, self-care on here. Then she has others time, taking care of others, being open, being kind, praying. Then she has the earth up here. Okay. One example. You do not have to have all these things. I don't have all these things on mine, but I wanted to give you something that had lots of different options. Okay, so what I want you to do is just kind of jot on the outside some priorities. What are some priorities to you? Or what are some things that you would like to make a priority with the way that you're spending your time? Okay, mine is a little bit more archaic. Okay, so here's my triangle. All right, my bottom time is my God time. Okay. And that is the time that I also consider my service time. So I consider that my God time, my worship time, my prayer time, my meditation time, my devotion time, and also the time of serving others. Then I have husband. Then I have kids. Then I have myself. Then I have my work. And then I have my friends. See, I didn't even put the earth on here. And I care about the earth, guys. So it's okay. You don't have to have everything in your triangle, but that was what was important of hierarchy, of priorities, the ways that I want to spend my time in my ideal world, which I'm living in.
Can I say something, Sarah?
Yep.
So once you do this and you work on your priorities and you're going to make this commitment to yourself to time block and kind of create these places where you're going to be intentional with that activity or intentional with that activity. You might say, well, how do I do that? Because blah, blah, blah. You're going to go into there's going to be a rationalization or a little voice. So right off the bat, you're going to have to find ways of setting yourself up for success when that voice pops up. So are you going to have to get up 10 minutes earlier to possibly do this time block morning routine that you are saying is important to you? Does that mean that the night before you might have to go to bed a half an hour earlier so that you still can get the proper amount of sleep? You're going to have to find ways to tweak and create that agreement with yourself and that commitment with yourself that once you define these priorities, you're saying, this is important to me. You're giving value to this now. You've given this energy now. So now you have to follow it through and fulfill that agreement because you're worth it. So if you have to go to bed a little earlier, then you have to time block that the night before to prepare you for the next day.
And we're going to talk to you about time blocking in
Yeah.
just a minute too. So thank you for that, Jill. And this also may mean that you're going to have to put boundaries up,
Mm-hmm.
bigger boundaries than what you're used to, or bigger boundaries than what you're comfortable with. Okay. And this is with, it might be with friends, might be with family members, it might be with time wasting activities, right? It might be with yourself in making those things non-negotiable because you are worth it, because these are the things that bring me joy. I identified them and now I'm choosing not to do them. And I'm choosing to do things that, you know, maybe you're choosing, I'll just say, maybe you're choosing to spend time right now with people, whether that's on the phone, via Zoom, or in person, who don't make you feel the best. Okay, maybe you have some relationships that that do not uh, they're not reciprocal, right? Like maybe you're just pouring in, and every single time you leave that person, you feel depleted. You don't feel uplifted. I'm not telling you that you need to like cast them aside and be like, oh, you know, down with them or whatever. But I'm just saying that maybe you don't spend as much time in that area. And maybe you choose to spend time with people and doing things that when you leave them, you feel filled up because you're worth that, right? Like you are worth that. So yeah, the biggest means the biggest non-negotiable in the triangle, the biggest non-negotiable to you. And as you go up, those things become more negotiable with your time. Absolutely. Okay. So you can have time to work through that triangle. What is one thing that is on your triangle? Can you share that in the comments? Doesn't matter what place. I just want to know one thing that was on your time priority triangle. Because now we have your why, right? We have your why, which is that, you know, the reasoning for you living the life that you want to live and feeling the way that you want to feel. And then we have your priorities. How do you want to be spending your time? How are you wasting your time, right? What brings you joy? You know, what leaves you feeling fulfilled? Because you deserve to feel that way every day. It doesn't have to be a self-care day, right? Every day should be a self-care day. I don't like how that's portrayed in the media, that, you know, you have to do these crazy self-care, you know, like have these self-care retreats and days. No, every day we need to be taking care of ourselves, because if we're not taking care of ourselves, how are we going to be able to fulfill any of the other jobs that we have throughout the day? We're not going to be able to do them well. So last but not least is time blocking. Okay, time blocking. Jill, do you do this with your day?
I do. So I have a very, very set morning routine time block, a very set PM routine time block. And I haven't always been that way. So my name is Jill, and I've only been doing that since September. Okay. But I've been consistent and I haven't missed one day since September. So I get up in the morning and my glasses are always in the bathroom. I grab my glasses, and the first thing I do is I sit in a chair and I do my devotion. I journal. I use an oil. And then I just recently got this thing for Christmas for my father-in-law, and it's The Secret, and it's like a daily law of attraction thing. So that's now a part of it. When I am completed with those things, then I can leave my bedroom. Nothing will deter that. Not a cat that's meowing for her food, not a phone ringing. That is set, and I've blocked that time, and that's how I start my day. Without fail, that's my agreement to myself. Because for me, looking for peace to be a part of my life, I have to start my day in the most peaceful place that I know of, and that's how I do it. And recently, only since December 27th, I started a very structured PM routine. So those were the easiest things for me to time block. Sarah knows that I do a bulk of my Young Living work on Wednesdays. So Wednesdays is a work day. Not that I don't do work here and there throughout the week, but that is a committed, focused, intentional time. I work in the office on a Monday. There's all these other things that I have. So I have to time block because I have 2 kids that are still at home before they go back to college, and they're going here and there, and their stuff is on my to-do list because I'm still a mom. I'm still caring for humans. So I am big with a to-do list as well. So every Sunday I write out my weekly to-do list with what's on my phone calendar and what's on my hard copy calendar. And I literally do all my Mondays and I put a line. I do my Tuesdays and I put a line. And like when I'm done this class tonight, I'll go to the kitchen and I'll cross off class with Sarah, and I complete it. And at the end of the week, I have accomplished things because I set the intention to do them. I don't not do them because those were things that had to be done. And that's just kind of how I have then spaces to do the things that Sarah was just talking about. So a lot of people think that the more disciplined you are with your time, the less spontaneous you can be, when it's actually the opposite. You can be more spontaneous when you have defined things in places, because then those openings appear to you to do the things that you love to do, that bring you joy, to serve others, all those things. That's what I found anyway.
I love that, Jill. And I love how regimented, you are and how dedicated you are to yourself. I think that that's fantastic. I really do. And I respect that. And I aspire to do that because I always have intention. How many of you have intention to do those things? Any of you intend to do those things, but maybe it's not as consistent as you'd like? Anybody?
But Sarah, let's not make me feel too good right now, because I'm 51 years old and only 4 or 5 months ago did I find this to be so important that I did it.
But that is extremely inspiring, which shows that any of us can do it. Any of us can do it, right? So I'm going to let you know on a secret that I have been doing lately that has been helping me to get those things in every single day. So I'm going to teach you a little something, because the way that Jill does it is going to work for some of you who are more structured and more planned, right? And I love that. She sits on a Sunday, like she has the routine and it works, and it's like a well-oiled machine where she blocks her time out then. For me, I have a 5-year-old at home, right? Like today he woke up with a cough and I'm like, oh, the day's totally different now, right? Like I was up in the middle of the night last night with him for probably like 2 hours. I woke up this morning and I had my time blocked, and guess what happened to it? That thing flew out the window. Like it was, I did not get to do my morning routine because I was so tired. I chose to sleep instead so that I could function today. And then my son just kind of ruled my day. The beauty of it was that I had the freedom to be able to let him do that. And the beauty of it is that even though I didn't do my morning routine, the thing that pours into me, the thing that, connects me to God, the thing that connects me to, being in the flow, to making me feel my best at that time that I had dedicated at that 9 to 10 a.m. hour, the first moment that I had where I could do that, I did it. Okay. It was not even in the morning. It was like mid-afternoon. I think it was like 2:30. And guess what? By that time, I was already had all this negative self-talk. Do any of you ever have that? Like when you intend to do something and then you don't do it, and then you're like, oh, another day down. And like all these things, you say all these horrible things to yourself. You would never say those things to
Another
anyone else,
person.
ever.
Yeah.
But and in my head, I'm like, oh, like you just like, what is happening? You had a bag of beef jerky for lunch, Sarah. Like you need to pull your stuff together. This is true, all true. Like, and I'm like, you got to pull it together. And then I'm like, well, at least you had protein. He is quiet right now. grab your journal. Like, this is a little voice, grab your journal and go do your morning work. And then the voice is, well, it's not, it is now afternoon, Sarah. Just restart it tomorrow. Tomorrow will be a better day.
Mm.
No. And then it was literally in my head, go get the journal. And I'm like, okay, I'll just go get it. And I got it, and I sat my butt down, and I wrote, and I did my devotion, and I did my oils, and it took me 10 minutes. And guess how much better I felt afterwards? How much? Yeah, right? You know it's true. So I'm going to encourage all of you, if you didn't do your morning routine today, when we get off this call in 6 minutes, go do your freaking morning routine.
It's not about doing it
No.
in the time. It's about keeping the commitment with yourself whenever that time appears.
Absolutely.
So the
But
great days, the easy days, sure, you can follow the schedule, but you don't throw what's that horrible thing? You don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. So just because it couldn't happen at 9 doesn't mean, waving the white flag. You'll find another pocket of time.
Yes, if you choose to. If you choose to. And for me, what I find that works best is that I have a calendar in my phone. Like, I go by my phone, but I also have a paper calendar. I do both. So what I do the night before, like after I get off with you, I'm going to sit with my planner and I'll time block for just the next day. Because guess what? I had a whole bunch of intention to get some things done today. And guess what? I got done. None of those things. Is it okay? Absolutely, it's okay. I did a lot of other things that brought me joy. So what I'm going to do tonight, I'm going to sit. I'm going to do like my top 3 priorities for work that I want to get done tomorrow. I'll do my top 3 priorities that I want to get done personally tomorrow. I will time block for tomorrow tonight. And I do it every evening, because then when the things arise, right? How many of us have, fires to put out throughout the day? Any of you have like things screaming for your attention? Yeah. People, animals, just things, right? Like, oh my gosh, I wasn't planning for this. And now this took all this time, right? This just took all this time from me. Well, it's okay, because that thing didn't take your entire day, even though a lot of times we use that language too. Oh my gosh, this took all day long. Not really, like you were just angry about it. And then you sat there on your phone for an hour and a half because you were angry about that thing that you had to do. I see you. I see you. Okay. So don't use that as an excuse, and know when these things come up, no, that's not the whole truth. The whole truth is that I can restart my day at any time, and I can include the things that are a priority to me at any time. And I'm also choosing to do those other things that are taking time. And if you do something in one day that leaves you feeling unfulfilled, take note and don't go back and repeat, right? That's like insanity, isn't it? Like when you keep doing the same thing over and over again, that doesn't basically bring you joy. So you can do time blocking for a weekly basis. You can do it as a daily basis. You can do it however you see fit. But having that time blocked out is also, like Jill said, going to leave you so much more time, because you're going to say, oh my gosh, like,
look at this space that I have.
I have to go to this appointment from here to here. I have to be at work from here to here. Oh, I do have this time from here to here. How am I going to choose to fill that time? Mm-hmm. You're going to be more mindful with the way that you're spending your time when it's written out like that. Okay. So a couple oils for these different activities. For the why activity, what would you recommend, Jill, for that why activity? What oil would you use?
Well, what I brought today was Envision. So Envision, because I wanted to read exactly what my essential oil Bible says. This renews focus and stimulates creative and intuitive abilities needed to achieve goals and dreams. It helps to awaken internal drive and independence and overcome fears and emotional blocks. So I think that is a perfect oil for being intentional and focused and purposeful. So that is something that I have just recently got. I haven't been using it long. And I actually have that in my little chair area. That one sits next to abundance, sits next to gratitude. I kind of have a little family that sit right there.
Awesome. And I do the same thing. I keep my oils exactly where I'm going to use them, so I have no excuses about that either. I pulled in Vision for the Y activity as well. I have Valor. I love present time as well because it helps to kind of bring me into the now. So those are Y activity oils that we recommend. Is there a Y activity oil that you think that you're going to pull when you have to go deep down into your Y? List it in the comments below. And then we have our priority oils too. So for the priority, to set your priorities straight, to kind of ground you a little bit. What do you think, Jill? What would be a good priority oil?
Well, when you said grounding, my head went right to frankincense. I do that every day anyway as part of my skincare. So I start that off in the morning. That would be mine, but I would love to hear other suggestions from people that have used other ones, because I certainly haven't made my way through every oil yet.
Absolutely. And so for priority oils, I chose frankincense as well. I love that one, putting it on my face every morning. And I love any of the tree oils, any oil that comes from a tree for grounding, because you figure those trees have the roots. Okay.
Magnify your purpose.
Oh, that is a good one, Jen. Kate said clarity. That's a great oil too. I chose frankincense, grounding, northern lights, black spruce, and
White angelica. Yeah.
And sandalwood. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's a good one too.
Mm-hmm.
And last but not least, for time blocking, when you want to get things done, what oils do you sit and use when you want to focus and get things done? I have peppermint.
That's what I was going to say, peppermint.
Yeah. And I know that Denise mentioned brain power earlier. That's one of her favorites. I have clarity, brain power. Natasha said present time.
I haven't tried that one yet. Present time.
One of my favorites. Brain power, orange. Orange is such a happy oil too. Awesome. So thank you for that. Those are just some oils listed for you. And now what I'm going to share with you is just the link for the Google form. So I'm going to send this to you. I'm going to put it into the comment section here. And then I am also going to list it in the event. And it is super short. Just please give me your email. I also have the link to our workshop for next Monday night, which is Vibe and Hire with Essential Oils. So it is going to be led by Sarah Miller Stutzman. And we are going to get like down and deep with frequency and essential oils, which I know so many of you have been requesting. So we're really excited for that. Vibe and High with Essential Oils. The link is actually in the Google Doc this week in the form, so that you can, as you're going through, click right in it, pre-register for it. That'll be sent directly to your email. And I hope that all of you enjoyed this evening. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me direct and to Jill as well. And we'll be happy to answer any questions or put it on the Google form, and we'll know how best to follow up with you too.
And as Sarah knows, and as those of you who've been in a class with Sarah and I before, I always like to end with a quote because I'm just inspired by things and I collect them. So this is the one that I pulled for tonight for all of you who I didn't know who were going to be here. You are a once in a lifetime cosmic event. Once you start really believing that, you will be able to start living a life that supports that. So I just want you to take that in and know that you are powerful beyond measure. You can have everything you want, and it's really just your choices.
Thank you, Jill.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us this evening. We hope you enjoyed, and have a good night. We'll see you next week.
God bless. Bye.
Bye.